Terrifyingly true. Scary Reddit stories. I don't feel safe anymore, and I'm getting desperate. Written and submitted by Weak Childhood 6621. I don't feel safe anymore. I'm getting desperate. I generally consider myself a skeptic, but I don't really believe in this kind of stuff usually, but I've been having some strange experiences. I don't have anything else to turn to, so I hope this might get me some answers, or at the very least, rule out some options. Okay, so where do I even begin with this? I guess it started back a few months ago. My house is small, only has 3 tiny bedrooms. The majority of the time I've lived here, there was 5 people here. I shared a room with my sister up until October 2023 when my brother moved out. She took his old room. A while after that is when I started to notice odd things. At first it was just generally paranoia. In my room, and only in my room for at least an hour before I go to sleep, I get really paranoid. It could be a feeling of being watched or hyper aware of noise, but I'd be really anxious. Then things picked up a bit. I started to feel something hovering over my ear. Never seeing anything, but feeling it deeply. That tickle, when somebody whispers, like that. Just hovering over my ear. This only happens to my right ear. It just so happens that when I lay on my left side, I face a mirror as it's my closet door. Apparently that's bad luck, I hear. Anyway, it goes on from here. One night as I was drifting off to sleep, I heard a man clearly whisper, "Stay awake," in my right ear. Scared the shit out of me for obvious reasons. I felt that same hovering and watched feeling. Lately I've noticed things moving across my vision. Shadows in the corner of my eyes, little white blurs across my vision. This only really happens in my bedroom, not much else. I've noticed something worse when I'm asleep. I often sleep with my hand under my pillow. Sometimes my hand peeks out from under the pillow and then it happens. Something is grabbing my hand. It starts at my index finger and pulls slightly on it as if it's trying to be discreet. Then it works its way to my pinky. Then it goes back to the index finger, only this time it makes small circular motions with it while pressing on my pillow lightly. It does this with each one until it reaches my pinky, and then after that it shakes my headboard. I've also noticed my mattress shake slightly while I'm asleep, which is definitely not normal. As far as I can recall, this is all the detail I have as of now. I'm worried I've got a ghost of some kind. I'm also worried because mental illness runs in my family and my grandpa had schizophrenia. So, Reddit, I ask you, do I have a ghost? Or should I be evaluated instead? If I do have a ghost, what can I do about it? I'll try to answer as many responses as possible, so just feel free to ask any clarification in the comments. It's late while I'm writing this, and I'm dyslexic, so grammar and spelling just might be off. I'm scared. Written and submitted by VAUXZX. Super creepy photo coming up after the story. I heard a voice outside my window while I was sleeping on the second floor of our house. It was a deep, raspy voice, but this wasn't the first encounter I had had. Initially, it was just heavy breathing, that deep kind of breathing. I turned off the AC and the TV to listen, and it wasn't me. The sound was coming from the window, but I decided to ignore it. The next day, around 12 a.m., I couldn't sleep, so I scrolled through TikTok until I heard that deep and raspy voice. I ran to my sister's bedroom to sleep because of that. I always felt an uncanny feeling in that room, like someone was there. This wasn't the first paranormal thing I had encountered. As a kid, my mom took pictures of me, and behind me was a cabinet with someone captured there. My mom opened the cabinet. It was just bed sheets, blankets, and clothes. I still get goosebumps every time I see this picture. Experience from when I was a child. Written and submitted by Arcane Philosophy. An experience from when I was a child. Apologies if this is the wrong place. This experience has been on my mind a lot the last few days, and I thought it was worth asking. I made this Reddit account to post because, I didn't want to post on my main. When I was around 5 or 6 years old, I was riding my bike along this grassy path with hills on one side that we rode often along as children. On this particular occasion, I was riding along, and one part of the usually grassy hill was burnt, charcoal black, with the inside of the hill being burnt out, revealing the interior of a cabin, which was burnt, resembled charcoal, although it retained its form. Inside the cabin, there was a 4-legged table, a campfire with a cauldron on top of it, and I apologize in advance for using this term. I'm just simply trying to paint a picture of my experience, and I mean no offense. A stereotypical witch with black robes and a pointed hat. She was very short. She had no face, but she was telling me to come inside. Something deep within me told me not to go any closer and just leave. I remember feeling like she couldn't come out, but if I went in, I wouldn't be able to come out either. I went and got some of my friends from the neighborhood, and 3 or 4 of us went back down there with our bikes, but there was nothing there, just the normal grassy hill. I've been curious about this for the last 20 odd years. It's been on my mind again the last few days. Thought that someone here may have some perspective on the matter. Again, I apologize if this is the wrong place to ask. Thank you for your time. Thought the house was haunted by a ghost. Now I'm pretty sure it's a demon. Written and submitted by Cheesecat 2727. So I thought the house was haunted by a ghost. Now I'm pretty sure it's a demon. So I've been staying with my fiance pretty regularly in the last few years. Now I'm staying in the house pretty much, full time. There's always been a presence in the house. It used to live in the hallway, but has since also moved to the living room. We even used to joke about it, called it by a name, which I'm not going to use here because I feel like I've tempted fate enough already at this point. Now you could already almost always feel this being, and I saw it lurking at the end of the hallway once or twice. But since I moved in, things have begun to ramp up. It started with whistle at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I heard it, my girl heard it, the fucking dogs heard it. Since then, this thing's repeatedly knocked on the door while I'm home alone. It's growled at me twice from the dark living room in the middle of the night, And now, I've woken up with scratches on my leg. Y'all, I'm scared as shit. Other than burning this place to the ground, what can I do? Edited to add, whatever the fuck this is, it knows my name. Not only did it just call my name and bang on the closed door of the bedroom, it also called me by my dead name. Then the first name I used when I came out, one I haven't used in years. Then it called me by my middle name. Demon in Childhood Christmas Pic. Written and submitted by Southern Ad 2683. Super creepy photo following the story. There's a demon in my childhood Christmas pic, early 2000. Can someone please tell me what it is? So, basically I was looking through old pictures from my memories box. I came across this picture taken by my mom and stepdad. It shows me on the right and my older sister on the left. At first glance, it just looks like a normal early 2000s Christmas pic, if you ignore the fact that I look like a 7-year-old crackhead. But if you shift your eyes to the far right, just behind where I'm standing, you can see what I'm talking about. Quite frankly, it's fucking terrifying. It appears to be some sort of entity or demon. You can clearly see its face and the body. It also looks like it has a thin black arm touching the back of my neck. Anyway, can someone please tell me what the fuck this is? 'Cause I just can't fathom. My boyfriend is telling me to come outside. He isn't there. Written and submitted by Typod. My boyfriend is telling me to come outside, and he isn't there. My boyfriend works late hours, and when I know he's on his way to my house, I'll sit and wait for him in the kitchen to greet him. The main door is in front of me, while the back porch one is behind me. He tends to come through that one so my dog doesn't bark. He called me a few minutes ago and said he just left work and he's on his way. So I did my normal and sat at the kitchen table scrolling on my phone until I got the "I'm outside" text. After a few minutes of scrolling, I heard his voice. The only light outside of my house was the porch light, so I look out the kitchen window and nobody's there. "Baby, come outside." Normally his voice is reassuring and welcoming, but I had a terrible feeling and decided to call his cell phone. His phone is a track phone that he buys service for, so sometimes it simply rings twice, which is what it did every time I called. Eventually I gave up and stepped into the back porch to look outside. Maybe his phone died and he needed me to unlock the door for him. I could feel my heart drop when I remembered the door was unlocked. I start to text him, asking him to answer his phone. But while I'm doing this, the voice turns from a gentle tone to an angry one. It yelled my full name and told me to come outside. My boyfriend never calls me by my full name. At this point, I'm starting to feel scared. I looked outside, and it now knows that I'm not in the kitchen and that I looked out the back porch window. I called him again. After what felt like hours, he answered in a concerned way, apologizing because his phone was on vibrate as well as it was not working. "Why are you telling me to come outside?" Those were the first words I said. There was an immediate silence over the line. "What do you mean? I'm just now on your road." He sounded worried, but I could tell he thought I was pranking him. The voice was getting angrier by the second. It cussed at me and eventually started banging on the door. It was so loud that even my boyfriend could hear it through the phone. I heard the car speed up, then the sound of the gravel from him pulling into my driveway. I finally mustered up the courage to move the curtain and see if there was really anyone there. There was nothing there, but I could see him running up the stairs to get to me. Once he got in, the voice and the banging came to a complete stop. I stood shaken while he looked around my yard, only to see a deer running away on its hind legs, just for the front two to hit the ground in front of it as it went by into the nearby woods. We didn't sleep much that night, and eventually we plan on moving somewhere that's closer to the city, as my house is out of the way from any other people. Thank you for joining in this living nightmare. Until next time, sleep tight or the bedbugs will bite.